Hello and welcome to the 25th episode of the Gochuucast, halfway to the big 5-0. Today we are going to be talking about anime tropes. I was going to say favorite or least favorite, but I guess there's I don't know.
There's some that are just things that exist and it's whatever to...
Yep, words.
Words, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess
You know what my favorite anime trope is?
What is your favorite anime trope?
In Shonen, when they attack the enemy with their super attack and they yell out the name.
Yeah.
Just at the top of their lungs. That's the one that really gets me going.
I don't know if it's just me, but personally, I think attack names are dumb. Unless it's I don't know, it's gotta be a really cool attack name if you're gonna yell something.
Well, yeah.
Undershock.
If you fucking attack me with a sword and you just yell slash, then no, I'm not down for that. But if you yell super demon killer slash or something, I might start pogging. Who knows?
Yeah, because in this season, for example, reincarnated as a sword. Fran has heavy slash, which makes sense to say because she destroys the ground and shit, but then she has double slash. I'm bitch, you're just swinging your sword twice. You don't have to call it out. It's okay. I mean, maybe there's
something
some
like
boost
that
or something.
With the way that the world has been built, they might be how in a lot of games. So Sword Art Online, for example, has skills that they're activating at times.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they haven't established it, but reincarnated as a sword feels like it might be one of those ones where when she says double slash, it's not just her swinging her sword twice.
It's a little bit of
actual
a boost.
Attack activating.
Yeah. It's still goofy. She uses it too much. I feel like there's got to be something better in the arsenal than double slash. I guess.
Yeah, probably. But I don't know. This is I blame Dragon Ball for this because Dragon Ball's the oldest thing I can think of.
Always Dragon Ball's fault, isn't it?
It's always Dragon Ball's fault.
But I don't know. I just think it's epic when a strong shonen character is about to unleash a super attack, and you've never seen it before, and he's charging up all his power, about to kill someone, and then right before he does it, but not kill someone because they don't kill people. But right before he does it, he just yells the ultimate move name, and then you're like, "Oh my god, it's Final Flash." Or something. I think that was a Dragon Ball move.
Yeah, it was a Dragon Ball move. Better than Big Bang Attack.
What about Kamehameha? Well, I mean, yeah.
Kamehameha is that's iconic.
I will say some of them have started to get more ridiculous with it. Reincarnated Sword is a fun example because she's just saying words.
I mean, isn't that all of them? I don't know, dude. They're all words.
Yeah, they're all. No, that's true. They are all words.
The difference is they don't all feel named when she does it in Reincarnated as a Sword. Daniel said, okay. She's just kind of saying something.
It's an essay.
Yeah, in terms of the name, it sounds like she's saying something just to say something.
Okay.
But
it's a copy pasta.
I don't know. There's fun ways to do it. In One Piece, the names aren't that creative, but they always have the devil fruit attached to them if it's a devil fruit user. So Luffy has the gum fruit. Spoilers. No, I'm playing. Luffy has the gum fruit. So if he's saying an attack, he's going to be Gomu no, and says an attack name. And if the attack name is just gum punch, it's fine because you have the gum on there. So it's just a band-aid for this issue.
Yeah. So without the gum, it's just punch. Surely there's no...
A lot of his moves are things that are gum balloon or gum gatling and stuff like that. Where, it's a single word attached to the devil fruit.
I don't know. I guess he uses a gum.
It's like Pokemon having to advance their... You know how Pokemon, when they appear, they announce their name? It's the same thing. It's just you're just announcing your move. It's you don't have to think too much about the actual what they're saying.
But at least in Pokemon it makes sense because you're commanding something to do it.
No. I'm saying when the Pokemon comes out.
Yeah.
Pikachu says Pikachu.
I see.
You know what I mean?
Some of them don't though, which I don't fully understand.
Yeah, well, actually that's true.
I don't know. I guess because I don't know. Some of them get to be more quirky than others, like the fucking Reggies or whatever.
Fucking Reggie.
The Reggies don't have mouths, so they can't really like. I don't know.
All right, Spat, give us your best Regirock right now.
Dude, I am Regirock. You know the Regirock sitting in front of the computer? That's me right now.
That's you. Yeah. Of course.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I remember that from the movie though. I know what you're talking about. I don't have the vocal like ability to do that. I'm not a voice actor.
But yeah, it's like it's I don't know, it's just fun. I don't even know if I would even consider it a trope, but so many anime do it at this point that it's like
it's kind of a trope.
It's a little bit of a trope. What's a bigger trope with yelling in the middle of a battle is when it's a fucking sneak attack and they just scream. Like my brother in Christ, it is a sneak attack. You don't have to yell.
I think that's like comedic sometimes because you're being so quiet and so sneaky, but you still have to say your attack name.
I like
it's like an addition to this trope.
I like when the trope is subverted and they're like the person they're yelling at, it's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like you should not be yelling at your sneak attack or whatever. It's so dumb. I mean,
I think if it happens like very quickly, like you know how like anime like the fights like they always drag it out. It's like I think it's like a dragged out scream. It's like doesn't actually happen.
Yeah, like it does it happen in like 0.5 seconds before the attack, or does it happen in anime
like
time?
Milliseconds.
The logic is like in real time. By the time someone could process what you're yelling, they've already been hit. That's like the idea, I guess.
Yeah, but I feel like in a fight though, like you don't like wait to hear or like process what you're hearing. You just like, okay, something is behind me. I should probably like not get hit from behind potentially. I don't know. Because even if it is in like anime time or whatever, like theoretically, whoever they're fighting is strong enough to like realize, I'm being jumped.
Yeah,
a little goofy.
Yeah, it's just exaggerated.
I don't know. I think it's funny because I mentioned I like the attack names thing, and then you name that, and I'm like, that's usually something that makes me laugh because it's stupid. And you're right that it's stupid. And, I'm not going to defend it and be like, no, they have to do it.
They have to.
Otherwise, the attack is ruined.
It's for the culture.
Attack. Just number your attacks, bro. It's attack 1,
attack.
Yeah, of course.
Ace, dude.
The most sane shonen fighter. I guess speaking of this season, I just got done watching the episode like before we started this or whatever with alchemy or whatever, and they did a trope that I was going to be talking about in this episode regardless, with every time anime characters take a bite of literally anything, they have to say oishi or something of the sort. And it's such a non-issue, but it still bothers me that it happens every single time without exception.
Oishi.
There's this weird, almost sub-trope of like random Japanese manners that happen every time anything happens. And like, exactly.
So
and like,
that's an
actual thing. That's an actual thing.
Yeah, it's a culture thing. I can't.
No. I know. I'm not saying that they're all. I'm not saying that they're all things that don't always happen, but it's like in my brain I group all of those things together as just like random things that Japanese people do or don't do in like normal points of the day.
Itadakimasu is like a thing. So
I don't think
I've
ever seen an anime character eat anything and not visibly react to it.
There's always like a sound. There's always a sound. It's like
there's a sound or there's a. It's delicious.
I always take notice when they don't do anything, and I'm like, I was
eating like normal people.
They're normally eating. I'm like expecting like something. I'm like, I guess it just didn't happen. I'm fine with that. I want to say
too realistic.
And it's like it's fine whenever someone's like, "Oh, what do you think of it?" But then.
But like to just like do it.
Yeah, it's like my brother in Christ. You have your mother's cooking every day for the past like 10 years. You don't need to say it's delicious again.
Yeah, when it's something that's supposed to be normal, that's when it always throws me off.
Yeah, it also gets like annoying when like in an anime I'm watching, right? The other fish anime, not Slow Loop, but I guess Slow Loop probably did this as well, and I wasn't thinking about it. But with these fishing anime, they catch the fish, and then instead of like just teaching you how to catch them, they teach you how to like cook what you catch as well.
Huh?
And so that obviously that ends up with them eating a lot of fish, which ends up with a lot of oishis. And it's like, okay, it's like that one meme for like Jimmy Neutron, like, Slow Loop, this is the 7th time you've oishied this week. Like,
okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's so you don't need to do it more than you get like a 2 oishi max per season.
But Daniel, how are the viewers gonna know that the food was oishi?
They can just smile like, holy shit. You don't have to verbally express everything. I guess that's one of anime's big problems. There's a lot of like verbal expression. Like, it's one of the most expressive art forms, and they still use words to convey literally everything.
You can't have silence for that's people get disinterested. I don't know the actual reason, but I mean,
I think it's just because like anime is like so ingrained in like what most genres do.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's why you end up with the parodies and stuff that make fun of all these tropes or whatever. Like, I guess another example from the season is Do It Yourself. It's the classic trope of, oh, this club is going to shut down, but magically, by the power of friendship, all these people join this club for one reason or another. It's like a pretty typical, what's it called?
Did they even have to, like, get people for the club, or it was just random chance everyone was like, oh, I just want to build desks today?
Wait, they had to get, like, this club had one fucking human being in it, and then, like, by chance, of course, like, the main character joins this club, but then the school was like, alright, you got until the end of, like, this term to fill this club, or we're just gonna, like, kill it.
Yeah, as they do.
Yeah. Which is also
this is like
what they did in Breakwater, the fishing anime.
Yeah, this is like a huge like idol in sports world trope, which it happens in a lot of other stuff too. It's a huge trope in general.
School Idol Project took it to another fucking level. Like, shut down the whole school.
I've seen the whole like you must collect 5 members for this club or it will not exist trope so many times.
Yeah.
I see like the
is like I guess fair, but I don't know. It's weird to me because one of the draws that I see in a lot of those types of shows is always they have like 700 million clubs and everything. And so I get that it's space and they're trying to regulate it, but it's also like from me coming from like an American education that had essentially 0 clubs or anything interesting, it's like, well, why don't you just not have all the shitty clubs, or you just let all the shitty clubs do what they want to do? You know, like it feels weird to be sitting in a middle ground where it's like, yeah, we can have as many clubs as people want, but only as long as there are 5 people, and the second that there are not 5 people, fuck the club.
Yeah, I guess like the reason they have, I guess, like the requirements or whatever for like you need X amount of people is because in most anime the like student council like divvies up the budget for all these clubs, where in I guess in like most American schools clubs probably don't get a budget. It's probably like you gotta fund.
Well, my issue with it logistically, when I think about it, is not necessarily the budgeting or like limiting clubs, but it's like, I don't know, like years and kids and students change so fast that it's like, oh, if you get a bad year where only 3 people want to be in like the baseball club or something, then it's like you're just fucked. Your baseball team is done forever because the club's fucked, and you're gonna have to wait until not only are there people in the school that want to make the club, but also are going to commit to like rebuilding the club after it disbanded for a year or even several years. To me, that just sounds like a logistical nightmare, which is sometimes addressed in some of these shows with this trope, because they'll want to build a club and it'll be like, here are these ancient dusty tomes of how they used to run the club back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know, clubs in general, it's like I think it's just, I mean, it's just mostly a plot device, I guess, right? Like it's just
it is.
It's a reason for people to be together. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like oh god, I remember. There's like the show that I watched, like Yamada and the Seven Witches. I even forgot what their club was, but the club like name it's like completely irrelevant to like the actual story, but it's just like to get people to like. So it's just a plot device, I think. I mean, it's true,
but it's still like to me, it feels like such a silly plot device because it's like the system itself feels like it just discourages clubs from existing unless you're just mega popular, which I guess is fair. But then it's like if things see a resurgence, it just becomes an uphill battle for it to exist. Which is funny. Daniel hasn't watched more of like the Love Lives and the Idol stuff. He's only watched School Idol Project at this point, but there's some later ones that like kind of deal with that issue where you get people who are like, man, we tried the Idol Club and fuck that shit.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It's kind of...
I don't even know how that would work. I mean, like, do they, I mean, like, in like the school, like, do they like, I mean, do they like get together and sing? I assume that's like it, right?
Pretty much. I mean, it's like any club. There,
sure, yeah.
You have the members, and then you'll have like a club president or something, and they're essentially in charge of making sure that the club does club activities. And then for something like Love Live that has competitions, by like having an official school club, you're able to register to like compete and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how it sees in like future Love Lives, but like the first one, it was like their school was not getting a bunch of people like signing up for it or whatever. It was basically one big advertising campaign is why they started their idol thing, which I don't know how well that actually worked in real life, but in their universe it did pretty well. So
yeah, it essentially was just something that I don't know. The original Love Live one was also weird though, because it's at a point in time where like idols aren't really the shit in the same way that like in some of the other ones it is. So it was like
it's like the start
them being like, oh, how do we save the school plot line? And they're like, oh, you know what would save the school? Let's just become fucking cute anime idol girls and become the best in Japan. And then everyone will love our school. Yeah.
I guess it's like all girls school, maybe like, I don't know. But I guess, I don't know, because like the main people who watch idols are like the male audience. So
yeah.
So I don't know how much the teen girl audience is like a part of that, but
it seems in the shows they at least portray it in a way where it's like everyone loves idols. That's
it's like obviously like there's their like student populations like, oh yeah, Muse so cool, but like if you're outside of that, like yeah, you know, I don't know how many people are. They have like 15 quintillion.
I mean, Muse. Did you watch the?
I haven't seen the movie yet. No.
Movie you haven't. Okay.
That is next up after everything else.
Yeah, you'll get some of that fun stuff when you watch the movie, but like Love Live also portrays the idols as like essentially just celebrities. Like it's that type of big deal in Love Live universe for some reason.
I mean that makes sense. It's like that in real life kind of. So it makes sense.
Kind of on a more like you have to be bigger than just.
Oh like, yeah, sure. Yeah, if it's just like a random like club
idol
or whatever,
club, yeah. Like it's the equivalent of, I guess in sports you kind of get some of that. Like I know, following basketball, like I know all the best basketball recruits in the class and stuff like that, and some of the better teams. Yeah, so I guess maybe it is more similar if I think of it that way, because then I'm like, I guess if like Muse was one of the top 3 idol groups and I followed like Love Live doesn't follow that much of like a from school to professional pipeline like sports do, but if it did and there was like and I was like someone who followed professional idols, I would probably know Muse. So I guess that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know how it is. It's like my only like knowledge comes from like the Korean model or like of idols. I think like a lot of like the trainees are like known by people, or like the people who like are like smaller idols. They're like known by the people who are like really dedicated.
It's also weird because most idol anime, honestly, either addresses the high school level or the professional level. There's definitely ones I'm sure that have both, but I can't think of any that are that will both have like the high school idol club or something like that, and then also have the professional idol afterwards. Because there really isn't that much of a difference anyway, so I think they just like to choose one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about idols beyond that, so I couldn't tell you. But yeah,
so rewinding a bit because we're on clubs, and we mentioned a certain entity while we were talking about clubs, which is the student council.
Oh my god, dude!
Force of nature.
Yeah, there's like so many memes. It's like
no, I love all those
memes. Thanos, Goku, and then like the student council in random anime number 273 is like the most powerful thing.
It'll have like world governments on a chart and stuff like that, and then it'll be like, it's more powerful than those. The student council of this anime,
dude.
But no, it like feels that way sometimes.
No, in Love, Election, and Chocolate, it's the most crackhead student council I've ever seen in my life. It is insane. So the anime literally starts off with people in like running against each other in the student council. Like literally, one was spying, like fucking espionage, and then they caught them, and so they hit them with the fucking car and put them into a coma. That's like I know that's how the anime starts. That's the level that this shit goes to. It is absolutely the most insane student council I've ever seen.
Dude, it's really funny because it's like, okay, sure, it's anime. I'm willing to give it a little bit leeway to like exaggerate stuff and like be plot devices and things like that. But like, oh my god, the student government, quote unquote, at like my high school, like almost did nothing, or like organized like one event a year, and like the student council and like anime is like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and
it's just like, I don't know how it is in Japanese schools. I mean, it could be different, but like
certainly
anime,
it's not like
exaggerated.
Anime,
yeah, no, of course not. It's not like an anime. It's exaggerated there, but I don't know.
I think the only student council that was OP and made sense to me was Kaguya.
They have like rich people school or whatever.
Yeah, they were rich people school, and most of the times when like the Kaguya student council would do something like OP and out of this world, it would be not necessarily because they were the student council, but because of who they were in the student council.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a little more believable. But there's so many, especially the anime, where the student council isn't a focal point in the same way that is Kaguya. You just have a student council, and it's like, oh, we need something to happen, and it seems impossible. Let's ring up the student council.
Or when they're trying to do something, the student council says no.
Listen, if you got money, you can do anything. Anything is possible in the world with money.
That's true.
It's actually not false. So I guess that's a good exception. I mean, in the other cases, it's just this like does not work. Also think
and that's why Daniel has a gambling addiction now.
I don't. Yeah. I'm not addicted, I swear.
Daniel's a very powerful member of the Philadelphia Eagles Student Council, the Philadelphia 76ers Student Council. He's a very, very prominent member. No, one of the things
it's always like a funny trope when the student council is OP and does something that like doesn't make sense, but it's also like those memes exist for a reason, and I love them for existing.
Yeah, they're really funny. I guess like the most common trope I was thinking of, or like the tropes that people will think of, is like the characters themselves. You know what I mean? Like their personalities. So like tsundere and stuff like that. Because like even within the student council, you'll see that, or like within whatever character groups.
It almost there is almost a point where like anime characters are just structured. Like you could tell me genre. Like I can sit here right now and be like, hey Daniel, there's this new isekai coming out. What do you think the characters will be like? And he can probably give me like 4 of the 5 characters as like just what their trope is gonna be.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm gonna keep fucking hammering down this new season, but in Love Flops, it's like literally just a lineup of all the character tropes ever.
All the dares.
Yeah, so we got We got the teacher, of course. We got the boy who looks like a girl. We got the first girl that you meet with, like, they always got like the glasses or whatever. I don't know how to like describe her as like a trope character, but she is. If you looked at her, you'd be like, yeah, that's a trope. And then the tsundere, of course, and then like the she's like the last one is like a model. Yeah, but it's an Ayano Taketatsu tsundere, so it's okay.
That's not bad.
I hate tsunderes. I mean, okay, hate is a very strong word. I get it.
It depends highly.
I like very well written.
If it's exaggerated, I just hate it.
Yeah. They're just tsundere for me is a high ceiling, low floor type of character. Because like one of my favorite anime characters in general is Noelle Silva from Black Clover, who's a tsundere.
Mm-hmm.
But then also like most of the time, if I'm reading something and there's a tsundere in it, I probably won't like them that much. It's like very random exceptions that are like really well written, and then I'll be like, yeah, that's my shit.
Yeah. Because, like, I don't know, a lot of tsunderes are like, they just fall into the, haha, she fucking beat the shit out of him thing, and that's what they rely on is like the character quirk instead of I don't know. It's
anything
definitely
else?
Anything else. It's I think it's hard to have a good tsundere, but when there is, it's I think it's
satisfying.
Fun. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think like
yeah.
I just think it's just like shyness, but like, and like that stuff happens, I guess, in real life, but like. I don't know, man. I think it's just the way anime like portrays it just makes it like it's unbearable.
It's
unbearable
like
is a very strong word.
The real life like she's only mean to you because she likes you thing, except taken to like a new notch.
Except it's a crazy notch and like I don't know. I never really believed in the whole she likes you so she's mean to you thing in general, but.
That's like for 5-year-olds,
yeah,
bro.
that's like for a really young kid. Yeah. I don't think it's made up. I think it's for like really just younger.
Too young at age. Fair enough. Fair
children.
Enough.
Yeah, I was definitely guilty of that.
There's like male tropes too, but like female tropes, I feel like I can just be like, "Yep, the deres," and call them something. But I don't know what to call like male tropes.
What kind of male tropes even are there? There's like the jock or
there's
whatever.
There's the jock. There's
nerd.
The goofy best friend who is just like fucking comic relief half the time. It gets fucked over.
Yeah.
That's usually my favorite. It's just the goofy best friend that I'm like, I want him to succeed. He won't.
Narrator. He did not succeed. Yeah, I guess there are a lot of it's always like there's the jock and
it's always like in like power scaling animes, there's always like the cool dude who is OP.
Yep.
And like shonens and stuff like that.
It wasn't even a fraction of my power.
The fucking like nerdy genius, because of course the smart character has to be a male.
Adjust the glasses up. I was like, I unironically do that, but that's because my glasses are loose. It's not because I'm a genius.
I'm basically just going around what I picture the Classroom of the Elite student body looks like, because I don't know the student body because they don't tell us anything about them in season 1.
They're all extras.
And I'm just going through what I imagine all the students in Classroom of the Elite setting must be like, and just going through what males do they need in that class? They need a smart one who only knows books. They need one who's randomly funny. Need the guy who does nothing but is secretly a genius.
Yeah.
The jock / athlete who's hot and all the girls love him.
I was gonna say something. Now I totally forgot.
No, yeah, that always exists. I think like I guess like for me, like the one that like makes me like, aside from tsundere, which is like I'm telling you, I just like hate it. It's like I guess that's like true for like not just anime specifically, But I feel like the incel, like, okay, incel is like a harsh word, but like the incel like nerd dude.
Yeah,
is like,
that is another one too.
Oh,
I forgot about that, but you're right. There is like the fucking in Origairu, the fucking the ponytail. This one isn't even one of the worst ones. He's just the one I think of. The guy who writes fucking like
novels
and shit. Like that's.
I wouldn't call him an incel. He's just
no. That's what I'm saying. That's not like the worst one. But when you mention that, that's just the guy I think of. Just the overweight chubby dude who's like, I want to write my fucking fanfics.
Yeah, you could like look at like Hachiman at the start at least, as like not incel or whatever, but obviously it's like one of those. I wouldn't call him a nerd either. He's just like detached from the world character or whatever. I think that's one of the reasons everyone loves Origairu, because like his growth from like the start to the end is like, you know, like he's one of everyone's pretty favorite characters or whatever. I'm pissed. There's some I had a fire like thing to say, and then I got lost in the sauce.
Imagine if they made one of those guys main character. Rent a girlfriend.
Dude, see, that's a problem. They have made those guys.
That's why I'm so miserable.
It always goes bad.
He's literally the worst main character I've ever seen in my life.
Shout outs to our podcast episode where we had the Rent a Girlfriend MC as a guest, SCP.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is.
He hates it.
Even though that's a very big insult, dude.
That's a huge insult.
You can't just compare people. You can't just compare people to that. That's crazy.
There was like, I don't remember because it's been too long. There was like, I had like a booklet of reasons behind it too, and so he was like, "Why am I Kazuma?" And I like typed this paragraph of like all the reasons why, and he was just like, "Well, I guess, yeah, he's got me."
Bro moment.
But that was back when he still liked Rent a Girlfriend, and now he
he doesn't
realize. Okay. Yeah, now he's realized what everyone else has realized, that is not the sauce, and he's moved on to better things like Girlfriend.
Yeah.
No. That's the thing about Rent a Girlfriend is it makes it like even worse because it's like the main character is like a whatever incel, like I don't know if you want to call him a tsundere. That's like an insult to tsunderes, which is saying something. But he's like that, and then the main character, the main girl, is also like that. Like she's a tsundere, right?
Yeah.
So it's like even worse because it's like unstoppable force versus a movable object. You know, nothing is actually gonna happen. It's not like one character is like relatively like honest about like what they feel. It's just like, oh my god. And that's the thing about tsunderes.
I've never met.
Where you like so.
I've never met Sumi from Rent a Girlfriend, but surely she's also a tsundere, right?
No,
she's like
Sumi is like giga shy. Yeah,
it's like different. Like she is, but like
I see.
She's just like I wouldn't call Sumi is not a tsundere. No,
I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, she's not like
she's the giga.
Yeah,
shy.
she just hides her feelings. Okay, yeah, sure, you're right. I get you. She's definitely different from Chizuru. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's like those are like the two tropes I definitely like hate. What's a trope I like? What's a trope you guys like? What's a trope that you actually think is like done well? And like enhances.
I don't. Is there such a
yeah?
thing?
Besides that,
I'm like looking at Google Images for anime. There's a bunch of anime trope bingos. I'm just looking through them.
There's a bingo. Oh my god, I gotta do that.
There's so fucking many of them.
Oh my god. Yeah, let me see
I guess it's not something that a lot of people like, but I actually do enjoy when something big is about to happen in anime and then they just go, all right, flashback time, and they give us like all of the flashback information that we've been wanting like before the big moment.
Kind of.
I hate flashbacks. It
can be done wrong.
No, it definitely can be done wrong. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's not like if you bring up any example of a flashback coming up in the middle of like some shit, then I'm gonna like, yeah, that one, great. But like, I don't know, I enjoy when I feel like the flashback is timed, so I care about the flashback happening.
It has to. Flashbacks have to be well timed. I hate flashbacks.
Yeah,
I fucking hate Orient had a fucking flashback every 5 minutes. I swear to God, it's not like the good flashbacks either, where they're like meaningful. There's flashbacks to like convenient moments in the past that so happen to line up with the current situation. I'm like, okay, dude, sure. How do we have one of these every arc?
this is a broke opinion because I think at this point, shonen and native isekai anime and isekai anime and all of those have overused this to the point where everyone hates it. But I really do enjoy when you have like your random power that has been foreshadowed for character or something like that. They've never been able to use it. And then they just get fucked up by someone, like about to die type of fucked up. Yeah. And then randomly they just are not able to use the power, but like the power activates. And I don't know. It's like, it's hard because it's also not particularly great for writing, but for like my monkey brain, I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah, new power, let's go.
It's like Goku when he gets his 20th new form or whatever. I don't know, because like, yeah, it's
lowballing
it. It's fun to like watch Goku get a new hairstyle and beat up the bad guy, but obviously it gets fucking old after a while. Like, because I don't know, because at the start or whatever, like when Super Saiyan was the like first happened, that's like, oh holy shit, dude, this is like really cool, and it made sense like given everything, and it never really went like beyond that until like I guess like Buu Saga, when things started getting like more and more out of hand. But then I think Super is like what broke the camel's back for me, because like I can like live with Super Saiyan 3 Goku screaming for 10 minutes to get that shit, and it's like has drawbacks to it at least. But now it's like, yeah, Goku is like literally just God now. I'm like, okay, well,
yeah, isn't Super at the point where it's just Goku is God level, but then also he's just fighting other God level things?
That's what I hate. I hate power. This is I guess a trope, kind of like power scaling. It shows so many shows just fuck up the concept of you don't have to get like infinitely stronger every time. You can have villains who use like different
smart.
Villains who are smart. They don't have to be like 10 quadrillion power level or whatever. Because Dragon Ball's problem is everyone just keeps getting stronger, and it's like, okay, you have these characters that are like, you just don't know, like, how the fuck did Frieza rule the universe when there are like 10,000 bitches that it would absolutely fucking punk him?
Yeah, like at this point it's been established that he was like little fish in the grand scheme.
The worst fucking like okay, there are a lot of bad like retcons, I guess, in Dragon Ball, but the way they got like Frieza to like bring him back and make him a threat again, they were like, yep, Frieza's never trained a day in his life. And so they made him train for 3 months, and he was on par with like Goku. And I'm like,
there's
this dude
similar
could
character
just train for like a year, and then he's just going to be stronger than everyone. Like, this is a horrible way of doing things.
There's a similar character a lot of people have been talking about lately in One Piece, named Crocodile. Crocodile is the main antagonist of the Alabasta arc, which, for reference, is like 100 episodes into One Piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then right now, I understand there's a 2-year time skip in One Piece. Like, it's been almost 1,000 chapters since then. But like Crocodile at this point in One Piece has also like established himself as like a pretty high-ranking superpower as far as like pirates go. And it's like, okay, but this is the same fucker that Luffy just like fucked up when he was a baby, comparatively, right?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people who've been talking about that, and we still don't have like a particularly good answer for that. I think the answer most people have is just like, oh yeah, Luffy just like outsmarted him and just like outgutsed him and stuff like that. But it's like a similar thing where it's the power scaling is so weird because it was a character that lost to like our MC when he was essentially just a baby, and then now all of a sudden that character is like somehow still caught up with the power levels, even though he was in prison for a good chunk of that time.
Leveled up in prison, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, he went crazy
in prison. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, if you're in prison, I mean, you lift weights and maybe it doesn't work for one.
Another fun trope that I was thinking about that I forgot to mention, which is essentially my biggest problem with Pokemon, the games. And that's the sense that 10-year-olds and 15-year-olds are the most overpowered people in the universe in like
and like. But when you turn 11, you lose all your powers.
Graphic moment.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's so many anime where the main cast is like a 15-year-old, and they're like one of the most powerful people in the world, and they're just fucking low diffing adults all over the place. That like these people who have been working underground and in the mafia and all this type of shit. Like the people who you would think would be OP, and it's still like, but you know what's stronger than that? This 13-year-old who just started fighting crime this month.
Yeah. That was like something that was like really refreshing about like Fate Zero, for example. It's like it's a bunch of adults fucking murdering each other instead of a bunch of teens, which I guess is basically what Unlimited Blade Works was. But
yeah, it's fun because Fate Zero also adjusted with Waver, where they essentially like took a character that was supposed to be like that stuck up, overpowered teen and threw him into it, and he kind of got his ass kicked for a bit.
You know, I mean, he's literally nothing without Ryder, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So it's yeah, I agree. I think that one was fun. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's weird because I understand why they focus on these like once in a generation teenagers who are meant to be like the, you know, prodigies essentially, because they're the heroes, and being the heroes means that they are OP. But also like it's just weird when you'll have a universe and all of the strongest and smartest characters are all like teenagers.
It's just to connect with the audience.
Yeah, it's just so they can get their self inserts going or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this is a fun example, but this is one of the things when I first started watching Date Live that made me eye roll so much with was it Kotori, the sister?
Yeah, Kotori is the sister.
Yeah. Why is she like in charge of everything randomly?
I don't fucking know, dude. I guess we'll find out eventually, probably, I would assume. I guess
fair. But like that's the same thing. There's one adult character in Date Alive who has any type of power. I guess most of the staff is adult.
There's so once you get further in, you'll learn more about like the organization or whatever. You're on what season? You finished season 2?
Yeah, I'm
mid season. Yeah. I think I can't remember. It was 3 or 4. I think it was 4 that like slightly addressed some of the, you know, the inner workings of like their organization or whatever.
Okay, so that's not necessarily a problem that persists. Yeah. That was just like a funny example I thought of in my head, because when I first watched it, and they're just like, yeah, your little sister is just like big man on campus in charge of this whole shit.
I guess because like
it was an eye roll moment.
Because of I guess spoiler for season 1 of Date Alive, however fucking old that is at this point, but like she's a spirit or whatever, and so
yeah,
I guess that's why she has she's like the big boss on the team or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah,
I guess. I don't know. That was just a fun example because it was teenager in like power in a position that I feel like you could just have an adult and it would be fine.
No, but that's a thing I'm thinking about, like tropes. Like the more we talk about it, it's like they're just like ways to like, they're either plot devices or like ways to just like connect with the audience.
Yeah,
so it's like
it's nice.
As much as we hate it, it's like it's kind of like that's it. That's actually it.
Yeah, it's nice when like shows will subvert that, and it's like one of the reasons I really like ReZero or whatever. And we talked about Orga earlier, but like Subaru is like, he starts off as like the typical probably like isekai protagonist or whatever, but instead of like being given he's given a pretty good power, but the problem is you know there's quite the consequence to using it. But you know he's like, oh, where's my, because at the very like first episode he's like, all right, what OP power do I have now that I've been isekai'd? And you know he goes through the fucking ringer instead of like, you know, everything working out for him. And his personality gets exposed, and he gets beaten up for it, and goes through all this shit until he becomes like an actual like better person. And so it's like the anti self-insert or whatever, because it like breaks down that character.
Because it's a good person, I'm still a shitty person. Yeah. No, I'm.
Well, I mean, I don't. I mean, I guess you could argue he kind of does. I think it's just like Well, I think like what makes like Subaru so good is that they go through the progression. I feel like there's like a lot of anime. I guess it's like more of like an isekai. You're juxtaposing Subaru versus like other isekai protagonists.
Yeah, just
I
like
feel like there's a lot of protagonists. Yeah, there's like a lot of protagonists where like the change happens very quickly, and I think that's like what makes ReZero like following Subaru so rewarding or like good or whatever. It's like you get to see like every stage of his process.
Yeah, or there's like no change at all. Like it'll be because like Konosuba is a bad example because Konosuba is a parody or whatever.
It's like a different type of show.
Smartphone protagonist.
I don't know anything about it. Let me fucking let me just go to type in. Look at my fucking isekais here. Like Mushoku Tensei as well is like also going through the progressions of like because like I hate Rudy as like a person ever. I can acknowledge that he's a good character, but he's like literally just an awful person. And so however long
I feel like if I watched Mushoku Tensei at the same time I watched ReZero, informed my opinions on ReZero, I would have been even lower on Rudy than I was on Subaru.
Yeah. Fuck, okay, I should probably scroll farther down in my list to find the shitty isekais. That'd be intelligent.
There's also ones where like the main characters like giga overpowered, or the ones they just don't they just like stay the same.
Yeah,
I love that trope.
I hate
giga overpowered.
I hate it so much.
I love comically overpowered.
There's
what's that show? It's like, oh my god, it was like
Misfit of Demon King Academy where he spins the castle.
Oh yeah, the one where he like lifts a castle with his finger or whatever.
That's Demon. Yeah, Misfit.
He spins like so stupid.
See, that's the show being extremely self-aware. Like he's like, oh, you think killing me was enough to make me die or whatever. It's like it's comically stupid. But then you have stuff like let's see, like Kenja no Mago is just like the overpowered, like goofy protagonist or whatever, instead of like there being like any genuine reason to like reincarnate, I suppose. Trying to look. Yeah, I don't know.
You know what?
Somebody's
while you're looking, Daniel, I'll say it. The same thing that Daniel and I have been thinking for the last few weeks as we watched through a certain anime. Every anime does not need a hot spring episode.
Oh, dude, fucking encouragement of climb is honestly. There's no reason that I should like. Okay, so I have like Data Live on like a horny rating, right? But based on how many like bare asses I've seen. And so season 1 is the highest at like, I think 2, maybe 3. Maybe it's 3. I go with 3. And then season 2 lowers it to I think 2. And season 3 had none. There's no reason that a climbing anime, Moe climbing anime, should be more horny than Data Life season 3. Yeah. It's so weird.
And the whole reason is just because it would randomly be like, hot spring episode today, guys.
Yeah, I'm looking at the bingo right now, and the top left corner is just a hot spring episode. Not that I can't enjoy a good hot spring episode. However, there's a place.
There's a place. There's a time and place, and sometimes we don't need it. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes we don't need it.
Dude, there's like a trope. I was just like looking at one of the bingos. It's like German for no reason. Is this a trope?
Isn't that when they read like spells and shit? Oh no, you're right.
I hate people's names in anime. I don't know if that's a trope or what, but like any like I guess it's like common in maybe isekai or like fantasy. Their names are just like so silly. Like I just cannot take them seriously.
Hold on, I need to. I don't think you've seen this.
Like when you have someone whose name is like.
I can't wait.
Lord Spatula the Fifth from.
No, it's not even that. It's like
no.
Hold on,
I'm about to send it to the chat. This is my.
I'm gonna explode. I don't know if you want to do this. All right, let me see this. Yeah. It's sent this, right?
You just sent this. You sent this the other day.
I did.
This.
Yeah, it's just like.
How do you pronounce this?
At least try.
They just call her Elf in the show, I think. I don't know. I haven't watched Uncle from Another World, but like this is like literally crackhead behavior. There's no reason. I think we've used Outbreak Company as an example for this. The like the princess from that. I don't remember what episode that was, but we've definitely used it as an example. Where's fucking Outbreak Company on here? There it is. All right. Yeah, like Petralka and Eldon the Third I don't know. It's just the Japanese authors do a lot of things because like to us it may look stupid. It's like when okay, spoilers for Assassin's Pride. Surely no one cares. The main character is YouTube, yeah. His last name is Vampire. What do you suppose he might secretly be? It's like to the Japanese, like they might see like Vampire and like not even fucking think about it, but to like the author, it's like goofy pun or whatever, or like it's I don't know. It's like
there's like that one person who never gets it though. It just the moment it's revealed, they're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, but like
they look back, they're like, "Oh wow!"
Like a lot of anime names
for so long
are like puns.
It's the average One Piece fan. Anytime Oda does anything, by the way, thing happens. All the One Piece fans. Oh no, Oda's been talking about this since chapter 200.
I think I'm looking at the more bingos, and I think one of the easiest ways to succeed in Shonen Jump right now, it's the Monster of the Week, whatever. With like. We have Demon Slayer, guess what? There's a secret society that slays demons. Jujutsu Kaisen, guess what? There's a secret society that fights curses. It's Chainsaw Man. There's a... I don't know if there's a secret society, but like they fight devils or whatever. And guess what? All three of these are super popular. And so...
I mean, that's just like the shonen formula is... Yeah, there's like two shonen formulas. There's secret society in Japan world, or we just made our own world. Go have fun. Those are the two shonens.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I hate the secret society trope in general is a little good. Like, dude, in Fate, there's no way they hide that shit. So surely someone sees some of these explosions that happen. Like, I've seen some like reactions to like to one of the main fight in Heaven's Feel 2. And then there's a really big fucking explosion. And the same reaction I see every time is, how the fuck do they keep this hidden? This is like a nuclear level explosion.
I'm pretty sure in Unlimited Blade Works, they basically address it as like, the news will just be like, yeah, there was like a gas leak.
Yeah, they cover it. It's like Licorice Recoil level cover-ups.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, but Secret Society stuff is like the way to succeed right now. Otherwise, you're getting axed by Shonen Jump within 10 weeks.
We were just talking about it the other day. Licorice Recoil had a more up-and-coming trope that started to happen more often, which... Licorice Recoil spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched that and cares. But it's just the trope of, like, making a character who is a terrorist or, like, a menace to society and then being, like... And their motivation is the fact that society sucks.
I mean, it's like
trying to paint them.
Wow, what a conclusion!
Trying to paint them in a morally gray area. It's the same as like Stain in My Hero.
I don't know.
It's not necessarily a bad trope, but it's like
I don't know if I call it a trope. I think that's just like attempting to write a good villain, which a lot of anime don't do. I will respect an attempt and a failure more than I will a shitty villain.
That's why I say it's like an up-and-coming trope, because I feel like it's happening, it's starting to happen more and more.
I would prefer to have, I want more interesting villains instead of like,
I do agree with
I just want to take over the world or whatever bullshit.
I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad trope. I mean, we had the whole conversation about the character in Licorice Recoil, and my take was essentially like, yeah, I thought it was pulled off pretty weak, but I didn't hate the character in general. I just thought it could have been maybe better. But that is like a new, if not a trope, like a new type of character that I feel like is happening more often.
I don't know if I've seen, I guess I'd have to like think, I guess, but most anime will just go for like the monkey brain villain or whatever. Instead of like a villain who has like genuine motivations and just does evil shit to like get to there, I suppose. Like in the
Fire Force, every villain.
Fire Force, every like in Made in Abyss, the movie that's actually like canon, not the recap movie, Dawn of Deep Soul. Like the main villain in that is someone that a lot of people like tote as like a really good character. He's like, he does a lot of fucked up shit. And he's obviously a bad person, but he's like a compelling villain because he's literally just throws morals to the wind to be able to like do what he wants to explore. And it's like, I don't know. It's so weird. Made in Abyss has so many good characters, and there's fucking Rico, the main character, with literally nothing to do. I hate her so much. She's such a worthless main character in such a good show.
I can see where it comes from, so yeah.
Hate that.
I hate most anime main character. Why is the main character like generally the most worthless character in so many anime? It's like, and she's not like the only main character, but like she gets carried hard by like literally every other character in the fucking series, and it's like, what are we doing here? There's no reason a character should be a static character in a, I guess, okay, for those of you literature class here, static characters, when they don't develop, like literally all they stay the same, and that's what she is to me, at least. And in a coming of age story, you can't have a static main character. That's like literally the worst route you could possibly take.
Yeah, I think static characters in general are just like,
I don't think they're like Summertime Rendering is like a really contained story, and so there's not.
I haven't finished it.
Okay, well, I guess spoiler. There's not really like character growth that often.
Oh, okay, sure. Because
like,
I guess that makes sense.
It's like a 25 episode one and done type of thing.
Yeah,
and so
it's like
it just makes sense to have like a static, like instead of trying to squeeze character growth into 25 episodes, just you have a compelling story. I guess that's like it's like there's two ways you can go. You can have a plot-driven narrative, or you can have a character-driven. And Summertime Rendering is like very plot-driven narrative, as opposed to character. Which Toshi, if you're listening, so this is I had a mini argument with him on like Licorice Recall. I understand it's not like the greatest written thing ever, but he was trying to complain that like the characters carry it, and I'm like, yeah, no shit. It's a character-driven. You did not just complain that characters are carrying the character-driven narrative. It's not a complicated plot. It doesn't need to be. Whenever you have just a mid plot or whatever, if you have I think characters are infinitely more important than any story you can tell, unless it's like that unbelievable of a narrative. Then and if you can combine the two, like I think Steins Gate is a great example of like a plot driven and character driven narrative like kind of combined together, because a lot of it is about Okabe's growth as like a person or whatever throughout his experience doing Steins Gate, but the story is also very compelling, even though it's just like 25 episodes or 24 episodes. And so that's one of the reasons people like it so much. I don't think a lot of people realize like in the moment why they like something, but when you look at it, that's why Steins Gate is rated so highly. And then something like Attack on Titan, like the later parts get highly rated because of that type of stuff as well.
Yeah, I think there's a time. No, I agree with you. I think like saying flat characters. I think it just depends on the what's plot driven or character driven. I think Steins Gate is an interesting example because it's like it like feels very plot driven, but I think like it feels plot driven, but like I think the first 12 episodes or the first part. It's like I'm spoiling. I don't know. Anyway, it's like the first part is like it sets up for the plot, if you know what I mean, like.
It's a lot of like world building and setup or whatever. So like the second half
I think
makes
it's
sense.
Necessary for then when characters rapidly change, it's like you have a baseline that's like very very well developed. And I think like a lot of shows don't necessarily do that as well.
A lot of shows definitely skip out on like the character growth aspect, I suppose, and just go for it's like, I don't know, okay, this is why I think Demon Slayer is like, it's outside of animation, doesn't have a lot going for it, because like, you have these characters. I will give Demon Slayer this. It breaks the shonen mold of characters that will not just kill a motherfucker, because it's so annoying when that happens. It's like, look, I get it. We're trying to take the moral high ground here, but he's killed like 10 of your friends, and he's going to kill 10 more if you don't deal with this. And so I can respect that Demon Slayer will... Like, the main character, he can have, like, sympathy for these, like, demons that have gone through the ringer or whatever. He's still gonna kill them, because they gotta go. It's not like you can just keep them around. And so, but outside of that, it's like, the story isn't very interesting. It's, monster of the week or whatever, and the characters don't really change whatsoever. Anytime they do, it's like a Mickey Mouse character development or whatever. Like, oh, they had a realization this episode, and so they're going to be a different character going forward, or bullshit. And so I feel like when you don't have either of those aspects, you have to rely heavily on like the art or the action or something for your story to be interesting to people.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah, static characters and long running kind of goofy.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
I can think
this isn't really a Japanese anime trope, but for kids, censoring out things like cigarettes and like stuff like that in all of their anime was always really funny.
I hate the localization aspect of things, like when they have like the fucking onigiri or whatever, and they call them jelly donuts in Pokemon.
Oh my god, dude, I was so confused as a kid.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not a donut.
Yeah, because like when I was a kid, I used to like trying different foods, so I knew it was an onigiri. Like I knew, like when I was like 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like I'd like tried it at some like random Japanese restaurant, right? So I was like so confused. I was like, dude, is this how like donuts look like in Japan? Did they like design their donuts to look like onigiri or something? And I was like, this was like before the
he went
before
like
the internet.
4
Like I couldn't look it up. I
more
was
confused. Yeah.
It was just like it just made me confused because I actually knew what it was. It's just like, ugh. I get it, but like it's just weird.
It's a
jelly donuts.
Rather goofy.
Yeah.
Do we rock with the dead parents trope?
I feel like okay, I'm fine with it. Dead parents trope is like depends on how they do it. Like, does it mean anything, or is it just like a reason for?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it depends on how it's done as well. I don't know. It's obviously like a hit or miss trope, but you got to get the character into the story somehow, I guess. And it's like the easiest way to kickstart things with your characters is just murder their family.
Just yeah.
Get some emotional trauma in there so they can deal with it later. Which is
maybe
like
give us like an episode to like their family verse.
Yeah. Build up the destruction or whatever. I think a lot of tropes definitely depend on like how they are done. I guess something we haven't mentioned, the power of friendship needs to make the appearance this episode.
Oh, that's classic.
The classic.
There's nothing
power
more powerful than friendship in anime, except for the student council.
I don't know, dude. Even the student council depends on like which side of the.
Student council's crazy, dude.
Depends what type of anime we're in. These might be.
Are we part of the student council, or is the student council being the fight with friendship? Because in that case, friendship probably wins.
This needs to be our next hit anime we make after we finish the 3 from episode 3, 2, whichever episode we made our own anime.
3, yeah.
Yeah. Our next one, we all together need to make an anime that is about the student council versus the power of friendship.
It's just two unstoppable forces meeting.
Two unstoppable forces, yep.
You know, if you think about it, technically, it's a very an unstoppable force versus an immovable object, right? The immovable object just wins because, like, maybe the force never stops moving into the object, but the object's never going to move, so it's done its job. But the unstoppable force
has not.
It's not going to. It's just going to need
to. Yeah.
Like, sure, maybe it's still going 1,000,000 miles an hour, but guess what? It's not moving anywhere, so it's lost technically.
Some of these bingo cards are fun. There's one that has a square that just says, "Who did this to you?" They're just picturing every character ever.
That is a good
holding
one.
the body of someone injured and being like, "Who did this?"
Yeah.
Oh, there's one heterochromia. Is this an actual like trope?
I don't know if I wouldn't call it a trope. I like heterochromia. I think it's like a cool.
I think it's sick.
Yeah, it's not something you see too often.
No.
Heterochromia.
That's you have two different eyes. Yeah, different colored eyes. Yeah.
It's also like sometimes they have like the patch with it, like the demon eye or whatever.
Oh, the Chuny eye
like
patch.
Yeah. That's like usually associated with it. So
I don't hate it if there's like especially if they have like a reason for it or something, or they acknowledge it. I think it would only be weird if it's just like something that exists and it never matters or comes up. And even if all that comes up is them being like, yeah, I'm heterochromic. Heterochromic? Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels right.
Would it be weird? It's just a feature. It appears in like 0.01% of people, but it is a legit feature that could be like normal in every other way.
I'm just looking at this.
This is what we need. We need anime realism.
Looking at this picture of Tropes, and all these have like descriptions next to them, but then there's just a picture of the line app, and there was no description at all.
Oh, the line app.
I have a question, because this is a joke trope, but has this ever actually been done where an anime happens and then the conclusion is it was all just a dream?
I'm sure
that sounds realistic though. I'm sure it's happened.
I'm sure it's happened.
Yeah, because like this is a joke that everyone makes all the time with like all of the long running shows or all of like the crazy shows, is that like, and in the last episode Ash woke up from his coma.
It's like the worst writing thing you can probably ever do is to say it was all a dream, because then literally everything means nothing at all.
Yeah, but that's why I'm curious, because everyone talks about it like it's a trope, but I've never actually seen it be done.
I think it's one of those things everyone's just waiting for it to actually happen.
Waiting for the first one to do it. That's like a big one too.
Oh, I'm looking through this pic. I just
surely this is how the My Hero manga saves itself.
Yeah,
just turning everything that's happened into a dream.
My least favorite trope, I can't believe I almost forgot about this. It's when it's something Rent-A-Girlfriend employs on a chapterly basis, is whenever the main girl like walks by and she's like super popular and everyone's like, oh my god, she's so pretty. Every single time, no one in real life stops and is like, yes, object of attractiveness is nearby, let me compliment them.
Let me make sure I stop and see how pretty they are right now.
Yeah, it's like literally the whole school. I'm like, damn, no one's this fucking popular in real life. Like, you might see them like, oh, it's that person, but you're not gonna be like, oh my god, her figure is so immaculate, how incredible.
I might think it. I'm certainly not gonna say it out loud. It's stop to say it.
Yeah, you're not gonna like stop your conversation like, damn, nice ass, and just like move on with your life or whatever.
I've done that one. Yeah, the stop conversation one and just be like, ooh, and then continue talking afterwards.
Yeah, it's a little goofy trope. I don't know. It's just like, it's so like you don't need to. It doesn't need to happen. Like, yeah, it can be popular or whatever, and people like are interested in talking to them, but you don't need. Yeah, they definitely don't need to be complimented like every 2 seconds. This is something like that Angel Next Door does. Is it has like a popular like girl character or whatever, but I think maybe at most they do the trope once, but then they don't do it again at all. And it's so fucking refreshing to be able to go through more than 0.5 seconds of text and not have to see that. It's just like filler dialogue. And not even dialogue, just filler words on the page.
Oh my god! I read free space is
free space.
Yeah, I read it as free.
You're like, what trope is free space?
Is free a trope?
Free the anime? Hell yes.
Oh, okay.
This one has arranged marriage on it, which is kind of.
I thought that was like an Indian trope.
Because it's like
Indian trope, bro.
Because it does get used in very tropey ways, but it's also like a cultural thing for some people. I
don't know.
Hard.
This happens in royalty, right? That's like a thing.
In like older Japan, maybe, but like I guess in a lot of anime, like we'll do this. Like, oh, this is such an old-fashioned thing. Like, why the fuck are they arranging marriage or whatever?
And they'll always like note it too when it happens. They'll be like, "Oh, that's so old-fashioned," and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, that's a trope, but also, I don't know. It's in a weirder gray area, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a trope reserved for my my family's like conversations.
This card isn't finished yet. One of the spaces says major character death. They forgot to write the asterisk that is the death fake out, and the character is alive after the arc.
Oh, sorry.
They forgot to finish this
I
card.
despise death fake. It's death fake outs are almost as bad as like whenever they like shoot their attack at the bad guy and there's a big cloud of dust and they're like, did we get him? Did we get him? Like, no, you didn't fucking get them. Of course you didn't get him. The dust cloud is going to clear and they're going to be alive. Pokemon is like the only one that will like go against that, and they're like, okay, the dust is going to clear. Are they going to have the squiggly lines for eyes, or are they going to be big chillin'?
I think that I don't mind death fake outs as much in series where characters actually die. But if it's a series where it's always a fake out, that's when
this is like my really biggest problem with Fairy Tail's, or one of my problems with Fairy Tail's ending. There's like literally like 5 death fake outs, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta kill one of these motherfuckers. Like, come on.
It's also annoying because Fairy Tail's final arc had the perfect death opportunity that would have been 5 million times better if they had just kept it as a death.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then they reneged on it, and it didn't matter that they did. The character did nothing else in the arc to like justify them having been kept alive, and it's the final arc. So,
like, I get like, I guess authors don't want to take the risk of people getting mad at a death, but like, if the death means something, like most people are gonna be like, oh, that was so badass. You know, it's I don't know. I guess I have like 2 more things to quickly touch on. There's the gauntlet of slice of life tropes with like, we got the beach episode, the school festival, the culture festival, the sports festival,
the required,
or the beach / river, I should say. I think Shikamori literally did all of these.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's just the easy, or the summer festival as well. Almost forgot about that.
Yeah, Can't summer festival that. Or whatever is like, oh my god, that's like every week.
Me when the characters in 20 different shows all catch goldfish, and then we don't know what they do with them afterwards.
It's under the fireworks.
Dude, encouragement to climb. I just remembered this fucking coconut.
She caught goldfish.
She caught like fucking 50 goldfish. What did she do with them? She obviously doesn't have space in that tiny ass apartment. she can't take care of all of them. Maybe she ate them.
She's poor. Where did they go? Oh, she might have ate them. True. That's a struggle meal.
That's why she got the big one. That's for dinner. And then I guess the last thing I wanted to mention is since we're not going to have the ecchi episode until 69, all the ecchi tropes that exist, like trip and fall into boob, panty shot, etc. Which, I don't know, you know, obviously.
It's like all the stuff that just feels like I roll a little bit when it happens.
Yeah.
While also being slightly sexual. That's like
I hate it in like when it's like in Televru like is egregious with how much fan service it has, and that's like the right.
That's the gimmick of the show, though.
Yeah, that's like the right way to do it. Is like they will literally have a panty shot. Like, yeah, you could, if you compiled like all the fan service moments, it would probably be a movie on its own. And so it's like
you'd get tickets for it, Daniel.
You get tickets to the Televru fan service compilation. Yeah. I still need to finish that fucking show.
But one day, out of place, yes. It looks very weird, yeah.
Do you have to finish that show?
I do have to. I've been 7 episodes into the 3rd season for 5 years.
Now you know how I feel, except it's every anime I ever watched.
It's not even like I disliked it or anything. Like, you know, it's just one day I watched episode 7, and then the next 5 years I haven't watched episode 8. It's just, I don't know. But, you know, it has to be like, I think if you're going to use those tropes, you have to like egregiously abuse them just to like, just let everyone know what you really are. You got to embrace the trash when you make a trash show. But yeah, that's everything I have to say. If anyone has any final closing thoughts.
I think for me, we just concluded that tropes are just like, they exist for a reason, honestly. As much as we might hate or love some of them. Mostly hate, I guess. But
I don't know.
It exists for a reason, I guess.
I feel like talking about tropes makes it sound like we dislike them more than we do.
Yeah, maybe there's some that we just don't ignore, or we just ignore, or we just don't think about. Yeah,
like a good chunk of what we talked about today is stuff that's just like, if I see it happen, I might eye roll a little bit and then move on.
Yeah. There's nothing like, I don't think there's any tropes I'll look at and be like, you know what, I can never forgive this show for doing this. I guess
it's not like Rent a Girlfriend where I roll at the entire show.
Except for Fairy Tale. Fairy Tale like egregiously abuses power of friendship and all that other bullshit, and so that's like why as I got older it like fell out of favor with me. But
Power of Friendship, Student Council, two biggest powers in all of anime.
Someone make the anime. Power of Friendship versus Student Council.
That's what we need. That's like the next battle.
Student Council using the power of friendship. I guess that's how most student councils end up, though.
That's too much power.
Too much power. It breaks.
Yeah, but
exactly.
I was trying to think of like a clever outro, but I can't.
There's no clever outro.
I was waiting for you to have your outro be like, but it's not an overpowered power or something like that.
I'm like, I can't have an awkward like silence moment. I need to do the outro, but my brain wasn't working fast enough to get me something of like interest to say. Yeah. Anyway, I guess I can't fucking think of anything. All right, that was the 25th episode of the Gochuucast. What is, I guess, you know what? In a way, the outro is a kind of a trope. I do the same outro every time.
Wow.
Well, smooth. You don't do the same outro every time, though, because we don't.
Okay, I do the same intro every time.
You can always expect there to be an outro. The trope is that it's not an outro, I guess.
Anyway.
Wow.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Gochuucast, remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more going forward. Also, if you're on audio only, should rate us 5 stars. That'd be very cool. Get us out there, help the podcast. But if you'd like to see our audio-only options, if you're on the YouTube side of things, you can go into the description, click our Anchor link, and it'll lead you to the goods with the Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. And if you're on the audio-only side of things, and you'd like to see the YouTube, you can look up Is the Order an Anime Podcast on YouTube. We are the top option because we are very specifically named for because reasons.
But SEOs.
Yes. SEO moment. Even though, like, our name is like it has anime in it. I guess it's like as friendly as it gets to search engine optimization.
Yeah, it has anime and podcast in it.
Yes, very big brain mark. It actually technically did. I saw a comment on one of our things that said, "I'm just gonna drop a like for the Gochuucast or the Gochumon theme." I'm like, thank you. Very based. Yeah, I mean, kills the watch time. They probably like clicked on, clicked like, and clicked off. Fucking killed the viewer duration or whatever, which we kind of need. But you know, it'd be like that sometimes. Anyway, we'll see you next week in the 6-month anniversary episode, episode 26. We're not gonna have anything special for it, but maybe week 52 we'll have something special. We'll think about it. Anyway, we'll see you next Saturday. 3 p.m. EST. As always, thank you and goodbye.